I'm Timothy Prieto, and this is my interview project. And
I'm Ron Morgan.
okay. So, when and where were you born?
I was born 1937 in Cincinnati, Ohio.
And what were you doing before you became a part of the Great Depression or your family?
Well, my parents, I was born in the latter part of the Great Depression, and my parents lived through the Depression and told me a lot about it, and I experienced some of it in my younger age.
And how did the experiences that you had during the Depression affect your life?
It taught me the value of having how to live without being overly can you stop it?
Yeah.
Okay. It taught me the value of what things are worth, and that you didn't have a lot of money to spend on a lot of frivolous materials and things that you did buy. You kept good care of them. For instance, if you had a bicycle, you kept real good care of your bike, and you put it away at night, and you didn't let it sit out in the rain and rust. It taught you the value of things because very few people had very much.
So what message would you like to leave for the future generations who haven't experienced this historical event directly?
Well, I think in the last few generations, not only today's generation, but since after the war, I've say started in the late 50s, early 60s, people take everything for granted. They buy stuff and don't take care of it. They throw it away because most of the time they got money, they're given money that they can buy something else. They want instant gratification. People who lived through the Depression lived day by day. It just taught you the value of things. If you had a pair of shoes, you took care of it. If you had a new pair of slacks, if you had a new car, if you had a new bike, whatever you had, you took care of it because you didn't have enough money to replace it. And I think today's generations, I think that's a lost thing. I think people just discard stuff without even thinking about it. And during that era of the Great Depression, you would never do that. It was just everything was just worth and so dear that be able to have anything.
This is a good story.
So, what are some of the stories your parents told you about the Depression?
Well, my dad worked for Procter & Gamble, and he had a full-time job, and the Depression came along, and they cut his job back to 3 days a week. And to help supplement his income, he and my uncles would go out, and in the fall they would cut down trees for wood. In the spring they would go pick peaches and strawberries for money. They would paint people's houses. You just did odd jobs to supplement your income, and you didn't know. From week to week, you didn't know whether you were going to have enough money to put food on the table, and that's scary. That's really scary. I can't imagine what that's like, but that's just some of the things that my mother and dad lived through, and they didn't have enough gasoline to drive their car. They would ride the bus, and they would save up their money to have enough gasoline to go somewhere, wherever they wanted to go, once a month. I mean, it was pretty tough. It really
How about
was.
what his job turned into?
Hmm?
Tell about what his job turned into.
Turn it. who started. And because it put everybody back to work. And my father, again, was working at Procter & Gamble, and he would, from 3 days a week, during the war, they were working 6 days a week. And you had no, you had no choice, you had to work. And they started manufacturing glycerin for bombs. And that was a wartime job, and it kept him out of the service because he was working for a company that was manufacturing stuff for the bomb, for the cause of the war, and so he stayed out of the service because of that.
So, how did the Great Depression affect your generation?
Yeah, my generation learned the value of stuff. We learned to take care of whatever we had. We learned to save. We learned to live fairly conservatively. We learned that the old saying, you just take care of what you have, and you're blessed to have a job, and you're blessed to put food on the table. And we just learned that our parents lived through something that was so scary, to know that from day to day you didn't know whether or not you could earn enough money to literally eat, and people were begging. So when our generation came along, we just learned the value of material, not the waste stuff, and what you bought you kept care of, and you used it until it wore out, and then you would buy it again. You would just not go out and buy frivolous things. So I would say my generation was a fairly conservative generation.
Right. And is there anything you feel like we haven't discussed or should be added to this interview?
No, I just wish your generation
Yeah.
would be more thoughtful of what you do have, and say to your parents, thank you. I don't think that word's said enough. But mainly is just be concerned that when you go out in the world and start earning a living, you're not going to be given everything. And what you earn and what you make, you take care of it, whatever that might be. And value what you've done and value what you have. And I would just hope that your all's generation is more thoughtful and appreciative of what you have.
Thank you for your time.